Hello, everyone! Yay! Okay, so today is day one. Yay! Welcome, everyone. It's day one of the. Oh, I always kind of scooch around on my chairs. Yay, everyone! Welcome, welcome. I'd love to see some little hearts. Today is our first day of the challenge to get as many discovery calls as you want. Oh, thank you for my hearts! So here's what's really cool. If you want one more sales call or 100 more sales calls, all this stuff works. So I'm excited to dive in. Just so you know, I might be looking over this way because I made some notes for myself. Oh, I can't see me if I do that. Hold on one second. Yay! Oh, hearts. Love the hearts. Okay, so let's dive in. We're here today to talk about how to create leads out of thin air because here's the thing. You can't have sales calls with folks if you don't know where they are or they don't say yes to have the call. You can be phenomenal at sales if you don't have enough people to talk to while you're kind of stuck in the mud. So what I'm going to do is teach you a few things, and if you haven't already, make sure you pop over to the URL. It's up in the little notes here, but it's also www.epic@sales/100call. And why you want to do this, why you want to register is because I'm going to give you all of the stuff I talk about. So like some people love to just hear and go off and do, and some people want to actually read. So I'm going to send everyone little action sheets and all the fun stuff. Yes, finding the leads. Okay, so I'm going to teach you guys all about how to go find the leads. So before we jump all the way in there, and yes, thank you for the hearts. I'm actually going to tell you a little bit about the concept of 100 calls. And first and foremost, anybody who's here who's like, holy yes, Laura, I don't want to do 100 sales calls. Or even 37 like I did, don't sweat it. It's not really about doing this massive volume of calls. While it is a little bit, there's no requirement. So just hang tight, dive in, and I'm going to talk with you all about it. Oh, yay, thank you. epic@sales.com, 100 calls. Thank you. The best folks. So lots more hearts too. Okay, so what is it that happens? Okay, so there's this thing that happens when you have a desire or a goal, and this is a perfect time for if you're going to up-level your business. Like you've got a couple clients, but you want to go way in the stratosphere and pop in a bunch of clients. If you want to fill a program, if you want to get started and start strong, there is this magic that happens when you create a tidal wave of momentum in a positive direction. Now, what I see is a lot of folks get out there and they get in action and they start just going, and they're struggling and they're not sure what they're doing. The difference with the 100 Call Challenge is what this does is it gives you a specific goal, an exact focus, a structure and a way to do things so that you're not just taking massive action, you're taking massive action in the direction you want to go. So what I want to do is just dissect that a little bit and tell you how you can create your 100 Call Challenge because your number is going to be different than my number. I like 100 because 100 is so big that the things you need to do to create 100 calls are different than the things you need to create 1 or 2 calls on your calendar. And by doing things so differently, you're going to create a massive flow of lots of calls. Ooh, love those hearts. Okay, so I'm looking over at my numbers so I can make sure I give you guys all the goodness. So the power of the 100 calls is really, oh, hello, yay, oh, so good to see everybody. It's all about creating this tidal wave, this momentum, this big push. It's fantastic for bursting over an income leap. I know so many of you guys out there, lots of coaches want to hit that 5-figure mark. And a lot of times some of us can get stuck at like even $9,000. And you're like, come on, where's that 5 figures? So I use this technique to help myself burst over that line to get to a place where I put some big money in the bank. Oh, yay! Oh, I've been so looking forward to supporting everyone. I keep seeing little notes. So, yes, yay! Okay. I get so distracted by those little things, so bear with me. Okay, lots of good hearts. Yay! Income leaps. Yeah, this is all about massive income leaps. These are really important to do if you want to up-level your business to a new level. If you want to up-level to a new level, that might be redundant. If you want to fill up a program, block out all of your one-on-one coaching so you can then create a group program. Anytime you've got something big, and especially if you're getting started, you might as well start big. And this cool thing happens. So I'm going to describe my 13 new clients, 37 calls thing. So in 1 month, and it was actually 28 days, we packed up our family, moved up to New York. I blew up my business in a fantastic way, and we came back home to Baltimore. And in the midst of all doing that, I created this massive ripple effect. So I put a goal for myself to do 100 calls in a month. You'll note I only actually hosted 37, which is still a big number, but my goal was 100. And the reason why I shot for 100, there's a kind of a concept that, let's say you want $10,000. If you aim for 10,000 and you fall short, you're going to feel like you fell short and it's going to just kind of suck. Plus you also fell short. If you aim for 100,000, even if you fall short of 100,000, the likelihood that you're going to cross over 10,000 is very, very high. Plus, the things that you need to do to get to 100,000 are totally different than the things you need to do to get to 10,000. So by doing those different actions, you get much more. That's just one with the numbers. You can, with money numbers, but you can use it with any number. So here's what's important to note. I aimed for 100 calls. I hosted 37. I brought in 13 new clients, and I doubled my income that month because I wasn't looking to just bring on a new client and put a little more money in the bank. It wasn't about that. I wanted to do something that was a big boost, and here's the magic that rippled from that. So do you know how many people I reached out to get 37 to hop on a call with me? I should have my numbers, but I don't. But it was a lot. It was a lot of people. So of all those people, oh, yay, I'm so glad you're loving it. Yay, and hearts too. So all those people I reached out to, yes, only 37 said yes to having a call. Only is not so bad. But all the rest of those people, if you do the math, I probably reached out to maybe 400 people because I'm a little nutty like that. All those people got into my community. And so now they're in my circle and they're surrounding me and I can talk with them and be connected with them. So when you do this big push, you bring a lot of people around you. The other thing that happened was I started getting kind of noticed. As I started reaching out and making more posts and being seen, more people started coming to me. So double. I reached out and people started coming to me. But of those 37, which are the right? Yeah. So, okay, hold all your questions and stuff at the end and make sure you pop that in. And again, because I do want to talk about what the boost is when you throw lots of people on your calendar. Are they qualified? Are they not qualified? I'm going to totally answer all of that because there's ways to kind of pre-qualify people. Yeah, some of that I spun and did a couple calls I didn't need to, but I'm universally stacking the deck in my favor, so I want to do a lot of calls. Okay, so let's route to what were all the fun benefits. So I talked to 37 people, but I reached out to hundreds of people. So now I had hundreds of people around me, and people started coming my way because I was doing a lot more posts. And of those 13 clients that I brought on, because of the way I structure my programs and my packages, some people signed up for my basic program. Some people signed up for my one-on-one. I had a couple people sign up for like VIP days. And of those 13, I now had continuing client conversations that I was hosting a few months later. So those 13 kind of stuck on and stayed with. Freaking awesome. Okay, so for you, what I want each and every one of you to do here, yay, love hearts, is to go ahead and make some decisions for yourself right now. How many calls do you want to host in the next 30 days? And I love looking at 30 days because sometimes we can do a lot of activity. And side note for everyone here, you can do a ton of activity for like 27 days and see nothing. And on day 28, 29, 30, you're going to sign on 10 clients. I will tell you, with the 37 calls that I did and the 13 clients I brought in, I brought most of those 13 clients in at the tag end of those 28 days because I was in motion, doing stuff, being in connection. So I want for you, each and every one, to choose how many calls you want to do. And here's how to stretch yourself. I say to some people, do 100 calls in 90 days if that feels good. That's like 30 calls each time. You can do 100 calls in 60 days. You can aim for 100 calls in 30 days. Really what it is to pick a number that stretches you. Pick a number that feels really big. So if you want, you can even type it in. I know just recently, oh yeah, it looks like nothing's happening. I just got a little post on here. It does look like nothing's happening under the surface, and then boom, all of a sudden you get what you need. So stick to it. For me, one of the things I just recently did was I had a little goal I wanted to hit. So I universally stacked the deck in my favor. I wanted to put 24 sales calls on my calendar to hit, 48. Love that, love that. So I just said I wanted to do 24. Here's the funny thing. I'm going to look at my numbers. Yeah, I did 14 to actually get to my goal. So as you notice, I said I was going to do 24. I actually only had to fill my calendar with 14, and I got to my number. It was a number of 6, and I got those 6 folks coming in. So just for yourself, take a moment, write your number down. You want to know exactly how many client prospects you want to talk to, how many clients you want to bring in, and what the timeline is for yourself. So go for it. Stretch yourself. All right, so let's get into the meat because I want to tell you guys the how to get people on the calls because It's one thing to know that like you can use this massive up leveling to move yourself forward, to choose big numbers, to reach out to folks. 20 in the next 2 weeks, 100 by December 1st. Love that. Great goal. Yay! Okay, so how do you find these people, Laura? Okay, here's what happened a while back. So I didn't realize this, but I can kind of talk to anybody. I think sometimes I'm that crazy person that goes to a party or out with friends and I don't know anybody and I suddenly start walking up to people. Side note, I'm great to take with you to like a networking event because I'll go talk with everybody in the room. I actually just thought everyone naturally did that. I didn't really realize that some people either felt uncomfortable reaching out to somebody or striking up a brand new conversation or might not know what to say. So once I figured out that that wasn't everyone else's natural place, I figured I should help everybody to make that a natural thing. So the first thing I want you guys to do after you've identified how many calls and what amount of time is to settle into this place of understanding that when you reach out to someone, it is not about like being salesy, telemarkety, harassy, like, hey, I want you to buy from me. That is not what we're talking about. When I talk about outreach, this is the way for you to connect with people because here's the thing. Everybody who's out there who you're meant to work with, they are waiting for you. It's your role to be present when they are ready to say yes. So what I'm talking about is being really like heartfelt, dedicated, really in a space of connection to reach out to these folks you are meant to serve. And when you come from that energy, there is not a space of you being pushy or salesy or harassy. It is really about you identifying who you're meant to serve, how you're meant to serve them, and you being the first one to reach out. Because here's what happens. You know, a lot of folks out there want support, but they don't even know where to look. Or they don't know exactly what they need. Turn around, let's see what you've got. Okay, don't know what that comment is, but hang tight. So most people just don't know that you're there. So this is your space of being there. So yay, lots more folks. Okay, so lots more hearts. I love those. And let's dive into the way you're going to grab those folks. So, oh, a troll. Oh, boo. I didn't know what trolls are, but I guess those happen. We'll just not worry about it. So onward and upward. Yay, I love the hearts. I love the love. Okay, so how do you find these folks and how do you feel really comfortable reaching out to folks and how do you just make it really, really easy? One of the things that we want to do is we want to make sure that you have a tool to do this. So I call this my bubble up technique. Super simple. It's the way that I create leads out of thin air all the time. And what I mean by bubble up is what I do is I put something out either on Facebook or Twitter. You can do something on Periscope. It really, the platform doesn't matter. I'm going to probably speak about Facebook almost all the time. Yep. Bubble up is freaking awesome. Yay! Because bubble up is kind of like the nice way to just get people to raise their hands to say, I want to talk with you. All right, so here's what a bubble up post looks like. And just to be super, super clear, this is not a, like one of those viral posts where you post, hey, if you want something, comment yes below, or hey, if you want something, make sure that you sign up for this or sign up for that. This literally is just a post that you're going to put out that announces something really awesome that gets people interested in what you're doing. So I'm going to give you two main examples. Lots of awesome questions. So what do I sell? I sell selling. But anyway, okay, so I'm going to, please hold all the questions. I really want to connect and then I get totally off track. Okay, so back inside my brain. Okay, so what we want you to do is to create a little post that you're going to put up. I try to be hilarious. This is going to be really funny to anyone who's watching the video and doesn't see all these little bubbles because you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. Kisses. All right, so here's what we're looking at. So when you create a little post to put on Facebook, one of the things that I like is creating just a little bit of something that says something amazing that you just did. And so it'll be a results-based post, and I really want for you guys to connect in. When I talk results-based posts, for anyone out there who doesn't sell business services or helping people make money, just take a deep breath and relax. Results-based posts do not mean just making more money. What results-based posts are about is I started here, and I got to here. Or I helped a client who started here get to here. So what's awesome for that is if you do sell something like business development or something, you can say, just brought in $15,000 in 10 days. Like that's those kind of results-based posts. If you're someone who's more energetic or helps people connect in, you can say anything that is measurable. So for instance, I have a client who she supports folks who've got some depression kind of things going on. And one of the things we talked about with her numbers and how to show measurable results was, for 2 years, I couldn't get out of bed. And after working together with my client, in 2 weeks, we got her to a place where she was starting to re-engage with life. That's measurable results. So back to the bubble up. So what you want to do is just catch a measurable results-based celebration. For me, I might rate just in my numbers and 90% close rate, or 3 out of 3 people said yes. It doesn't really matter what the thing is. It's you're announcing some success. And, and I've got tons more examples. So don't worry, you guys. I'm going to send you guys a whole email thing with lots of examples. So you just create a little results-based post that talks about something you've done. Now, here's another hint. If for any reason right in this moment your business isn't jumping and thriving and exactly what you want, just look back into your past, a time where something was true, that you did create some big results. Everyone has them. When I first started transitioning into selling what I'm now offering as my services, I looked back at some time where I had some really big numbers because I wanted to get some attention of folks. They are truly legit. They are my real numbers. They match what I'm offering right now. They just weren't in the present moment, what was happening for me on the ground. So when I used that, I was able to connect with people and recreate it. So create a measurable results and you post it up. There's no call to action. And this is the magic. If you're listening, listen in. This is the magic that makes this thing work so, so well. Okay. When you post, most people will post and only respond to people who comment. What I want to encourage you to do is when you put these posts up, anyone who likes it, comments yes, comments no, comments doesn't matter. Anybody who does anything to your post, I want for you to send them a message and thank them for liking or commenting or whatever comment they made. Thank them for it. And the goal to this is where you start the engagement. This is where you thank them. You ask them what had them commenting or what had them liking the post or what's going on in their business or, oh, I noticed you've got some beautiful kids on your Facebook post. The whole goal of this is to begin engagement. So you do a bubble up post which shows some results. You have everyone who likes it and everyone who comments on it. Unless you're already working with them, in which case go ahead and say, oh, I know, I can't wait for all of you to try this. And here's the cool thing. There's nothing to it. And I mean that in a really good way. You can put a results-based post that's a celebration on any page, anywhere, with anyone. Why is it called a bubble up? I call it a bubble up because it's basically taking everyone who is already in your list, already in your community, and getting them just to the bubble up to the top. Do you mean private message with them? Yes, great question. Okay, so here's the exact steps. You create the results-based post. You put it out there wherever you're going to put it, Facebook, Twitter, again, anywhere. You put it up. When somebody likes it or comments on it or shares it or does anything with it, you then private message them and say, hey, Sarah, thanks so much for liking. I like that. Engage with people who like the post. Bingo. That is actually the brilliance. So if I can, I'm going to pat myself on the back with that one. Most people will stop. If you see a viral post and someone comments on it, people may go back and forth in the thread. They may private message with each other, but I reach out to everyone who likes it. Oh, side note, another way to get your post to get a little bit more attention, and disclaimer, I'm not a social media expert. I just like to use it to get people on discovery calls. You can like the person's comment. You can message them on the post, but I love private messaging because that's where I can engage. The goal, again, is to get people to respond with you so you can go to the invitation for the call. So let's dive into that part. Okay, so one other thing. A great results-based post, why would they not think it was spamming? Yeah. Okay, that's a really good question. Okay, so here's how you're not spamming. Number one, in order for all of this to work, you need to know your ideal client. You need to understand who they are at a base level, who they are specifically, all the parts that make them your ideal client and prospect. So let's say you put a post out and 4 people like it. And when you go to their Facebook profiles or wherever they are and you look at them and you're like, oh yeah, I think I could help her. When you reach out to them, the way that you're responding is so genuine. Number 1, you're going to put yourself in a genuine energy before you reach out. Number 2, I'm going to give you the template for the email that I send to folks that is just like a genuine thank you so much for commenting on my Facebook post. I love supporting awesome folks just like you. Hope you have a great day. It can be that simple. It is meant to engage. So what I mean by engage is I message someone, and then when they respond, I start doing a back and forth. So sometimes here's what happens. You do a bubble up post and you send out a couple of messages to people, and some people don't respond. It's okay. They're not meant to be your people, or not right now. I can honestly tell you there have been several times where I've done these posts, and then I reach out and I'm in connection with people for a while, and then a couple months later they're suddenly like, oh, hey, we need to work together. And they pop over to me and I pop over to them and we stay in connection. The goal is engagement. So that's why it doesn't come up. So do you friend the person? Great question. Okay, so I'm always looking to grow my list, to bring people together. Is the original post on your Facebook page? Good, I'll answer that one in just a sec. So yes, I will friend people. I, again, also am being really direct. If somebody's, let's say there's 10 people that like my bubble up post. I'll look at all 10 people. If I'm not friends with them and they match for my ideal folks, I friend them. If they don't, I release it. I just don't do anything with that. And when I connect with them, I will say, because I do want to see their Facebook page, I might go on there and look and see, oh my goodness, you just dyed your hair blue. That's so freaking awesome. How'd you decide on blue? I've been thinking about putting a little stripe of pink in mine. What you really want to do, again, is that engagement. It's about, think about how we all did when we were in elementary school. So I don't know if you guys have little kids, but my little guy goes to school and they call everyone their friend. So when you're in school, it's like, oh, my new friend, this friend, that friend. Everybody is naturally already a friend. So they treat each other like friends. They act like friends. If somebody's playing with something, they'll run over and say, hey, what are you playing with? Or come play with me. So we kind of forgot how to do that as adults. We forgot that everyone who's surrounding us is a possible friend, or how to like naturally walk. For the record, you would rock pink hair. Thank you. I've actually seriously been considering putting a stripe in. Okay, so pink hair, gotta get back. But we lost that ability to figure out how to like just naturally walk up to people and connect in and say hello and be genuine. So what I want to share with each and every one of you is how to do that on Facebook. Cool part is, if anyone is ever like worried or nervous or fearful, here's another benefit of the 100 Call Challenge. If you in any way feel uncomfortable doing a ton of outreach to get people on your calls, I guarantee if you reach out to 100 people, by the time you're at 101, you're going to be like, whatever, that was easy. In a good way. I don't want you to think like, oh, that sucks. I really want you to feel connected to it, feel really engaged. It's going to be easy. Again, that's the thing with mastering something. I'm not asking you to do 2 sales calls, because 2 sales calls is not going to help you. I'm not asking you to reach out to 3 people to put, 3 calls on your calendar. When you do the massive action, you get comfortable. And when you get comfortable doing this kind of stuff, like saying hi and engaging folks, it just flows super easy. So let me do like a little wrap up, so I want to make sure we get to everybody's questions as well. So the power of the 100 calls. The biggest power is picking a huge number over a short amount of time will get you into a big amount of motion. And the best thing is you may reach out to many, many people in order to get a few people to say yes. And when you get those people engaged with you, you're going to love it, because I think Friday is when I'm going to talk about follow-up. Ooh, that's where the money is. So you want to be doing a ton of outreach. When you do these big numbers and you bring a lot of people in a big amount of time or short amount of time, this also gives you a bunch of people to have continuing client conversations with and stay in a longer term connection, which I love. Another really important thing is set your specific number, how many calls you're going to do and how much time and how many clients you want. It's good to have these big goals, because here's the thing. It's not always about actually reaching the goal. It's about making the goal big enough to lift you up into your next level. So when I do like my mindset work each day, I have a thing where I say, I already embody the attributes of my future self. And I list out some of those attributes, because I want to rise up into being that person. So when you pick your numbers, rise up and let those big numbers lift you up. So bubbling up leads, this is where you choose a results-based post. Hint, when you have a client result, that's even better. So if you can say, something about me, but I might also say, oh, my client just signed on 3 for 3. 3 sales calls, 3 yeses. Woohoo! One of my freaking awesome clients just recently posted landing like a $17,000 new client contract. Huge, amazing, wonderful. And she posted it out there. So I might just take her little post and pop it out and say, look what somebody did. It's so awesome. There's no call to action to it. I'm not telling people, if you want to know how to do this, come talk with me. I'm literally just putting something out there that says, just did something really freaking awesome, or my clients just did something awesome. Yeah, it's, if you want to say bragging, but I don't think that's what it is. It really is you showing up so people know what's possible. Is Facebook the right platform? What about LinkedIn for business? Great question. Okay, so here's the thing. I talk a lot about Facebook just because I love it and it's easy. And it's got like the most ability to, put stuff anywhere, and just, I love it. This works for any platform. The only difference that you may want to do is you may want to tailor a little bit of what you say. On Facebook, I might put like hearts and exclamation points and be like, woo, and a picture and stuff. On LinkedIn, if I'm trying to talk with a different professional type of my ideal client, I may make it more like a case study. So for anyone who's questioning, like, where do you post and what do you do? Like Twitter, great way to do this is if you can link to something, because you can't write a lot of stuff. You can put a little bit in that 140 characters of what you're doing, but you can also link to like a picture of what you've done. That's a good way. For Facebook, you can write a big long thing that you've done or a short thing that you've done. And on LinkedIn, you may want to just shift it to be a case study. That way it seems a bit more in the professional vein. But yes, this works everywhere, because here is the key. It's almost not about that post. I mean, it is. What it's about is getting people to bubble up, raise their hands to say, ooh, I like what you just shared, and I think we should get to know each other, because that's what you're doing. So when someone likes it, and then when you reach out to this, that answers the question of this being spammy or like, I'm harassing or going after somebody. When somebody likes my post, I automatically know there's a possibility they want to work with me. So, oh, love those hearts. Yay! Okay, so here's another way to talk about it. So, like, let's say you've got like 1,000 Facebook friends. You could spend your day reaching out to all of your Facebook friends, but you're not sure which ones are even needing the support that you offer right now. But when you post a bubble up post, the ones that like it or comment it, there's a very good chance either they're struggling with what you struggled with, they want the results that you created, they in some way, shape, or form see what you're doing and want some of that. So as soon as they bubble up, they raise their hands, that takes the list of 1,000, and let's say maybe 10 people say yes, then you know they want what you got. Oh, here's the other thing. So I talk about big numbers a lot, but I also want everyone to kind of like relax into things. We're talking about human beings. We're not talking about like 15,000 people. It really is about you taking some time to look at who's around you. One of my clients was talking about wanting to reach out to like 150 people that were around her. And she may reach out to all 150. I'm not sure yet. But I know what her goals are and what she wants to achieve. So if she reached out to like those 5 or 10 of that 150 who she's really connected to and gave them really special personalized outreach and attention, the chances that she's going to get yeses from those 5 are very high. So what we're talking about is being very personal, being very engaged. Bubbling up lets us know that they want to talk with you, and it's pretty damn cool. So I could talk forever. I would love to talk with you guys forever. We still have 4 more days. So what I want to do is just open up. Does anybody have any specific questions? Because I'd love to answer them, either about outreach, about bubbling up, creating your numbers. I definitely want to make sure everybody pop over to the Facebook group. I don't know why I'm pointing because I don't think it's over there. But come to the Facebook group. It's Facebook.com/epic@sales. Come over there. I'm always answering questions. Happy to do so. And if you haven't registered, if you're just catching me live, quick recap. Happy to. Okay, here's the recap. So number 1, the 100-call challenge is all about creating big momentum, and you want to create a big number. This is not just about running and doing so much. It's about consciously choosing a way to level you up. And when you aim for 100, even if you fall short, the chances of you going over the numbers you desire are very, very high. And then again, the conscious place of it is when I set these big goals for myself, I am very specific about what I want and how much time, who I'm reaching out to, and how I'm doing it. So we're going to use the momentum of the 100 calls. And again, you don't have to do all 100. I don't think I've actually ever even had a client who's done 100. Oh, yay. Thank you for the replays and everything. So appreciate that. Just go pop on to the Epic at Sales /100 call. There's no S, just 100 CALL. What this is about is when you get into the momentum, the chances are you're really going to get those calls fast. So I'll give you an example. I had a goal to host 24 sales calls in 14 days in order to bring in 6 new clients. I actually only hosted 14, and I've already hit my 6 people. So you're going to see how it builds forward the momentum. Number 2, make sure you actually set those numbers, and then the bubble up leads. So here's what's awesome about bubble up. You want to create a results-based post. There's no call to action to it. Like, just notice my client had a 914% conversion rate, or whatever the numbers are, or I just signed on 14 clients in 3 days. Again, we're just making them up. And if you're somebody who doesn't do numbers, don't sweat it. I gave a great example. One of my clients, she supports folks who have depression. So she said, is it okay if your site isn't ready? Oh, hell yeah. So I always like to say this. I didn't even have a website until like 2 years ago. I've been doing this since 2008. As online, before then I ran other businesses. But I sold a $35,000 contract with no website, like using my Gmail as my email. Hint, if you don't have a website, private email address is how you call your Gmail. So for the bubble up leads, you want to take a results-based post. And again, results, the depression client. So, she's not depressed, but if you have something that is not like tangible results-based, like you don't help someone lose weight or earn money, but if someone has been struggling with depression all of their life, and after 2 months of working together, they now get up and get going with their day every single day with joy, that's a results-based. You want it measurable. So someone started here and got to here. You can also use a client result. And if you don't have one that's new for you right now, if you don't feel like, hey, Laura, I'm not having huge results, don't sweat it. Look into your recent past or even distant past and just catch one of those times where you did something amazing. Because everybody has one where you may have done something really big or pretty amazing. It's not happening right now, but it's true. Use that. And the way you post your bubble up post, you're going to put it into Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter. Here are some quick examples. If you put it into Twitter, you may want to use the 140 characters and link to an image that says a lot more. Same thing for Instagram. When you put it into, would you do a results-based email to your list? Great question. Okay, cool. So I'll answer that in just a second. So on LinkedIn, you may want to do it like a case study. Go to like the professional land. Facebook, you're going to do just like I might do hearts and stuff like that. And I just lost the question. Oh, should I send it to the email? Okay, so results-based posts work great in email. And usually what I do with those is I put something into the message that asks people to respond, because email isn't the same as in a group. In an email, one of the things you can do is if you've got some click tracking, you can see who opens it. And if somebody opens your email, you can reach out to them. You can also do it so that if you write in the results-based post, you ask them to respond and tell you their favorite result or their favorite success, so you get some people engaging. I love it more for in groups to see who bubbles up, but if you do it via email, just make sure you track the links. So that was a great recap, I think. So here's what's really important. Pop over to my Facebook group, Epic at Sales. Make sure you've registered. It's epicatsales.com/100call. Because what you're going to get if you're registered is I'm going to give you my exact templates, what I say to folks. I'm going to recap the post. I'm going to give you some examples. And I'm also going to give you an action plan. So if you need to be like, hey, Laura, just tell me what to do and go see it. Can I see your whiteboard? Oh, yeah. Okay, I have them all over the place. So there's some over here. There's some over here. I've got lots of stuff. So I don't know if that was a good viewpoint, but what I do is I'm a big, big fan actually of those Post-it note papers. I love them. I always have them in my office. I can write really big things. Hope I didn't give anybody car sickness. We're not in a car. I think I'm going a little nutty. Anyway, yeah, it looks like your office. I know. A side note for anyone who's like having trouble tracking, I talk a lot, but also my little munchkin doesn't sleep, so I'm like going on fumes, but this is all good stuff. But make sure you register. Do you make a comment to like the post, P them or both? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, perfect. So what I do when somebody bubbles up, I will like their comment, respond back a little on there, because what I want to do is get everything like boosting in the post. Oh, thank you. Oh, I love the loves. Thank you. I want to make sure that like if here's a great way to like boost a viral post or boost post, bubble up post, is if you have like 10 people who comment, if you like each of their comments, it gives you more attention. With you on fumes, question, favorite way to track all this call goodness? Ah, yes. Okay, I do actually have a really, really, really cool way to track this. So I might be one of the worst tracking people in the history of tracking. But it's really important to know. So number one, I don't know if you saw it on my, as I went around the room really fast, I will take one of my whiteboards and I'll write out like 24 lines or however many lines of calls I want, and I will handwrite people's names so that I can see how many calls I have. It's not just in my Google Calendar. So that's one way. Another way, I actually have a tracking sheet, and I'm going to pop it into our group. So I have a 100-call tracking sheet, so freaking simple. So if it's not simple, I won't do it. It's an Excel spreadsheet. It says the person's name, their contact information, when I reached out, and what's the result. And that way I can track it, because here's the deal. You might reach out to 100 people to get 5 or 10 people say yes. You might reach out to 5 or 10 people, and 5 or 10 people will say yes. You're not going to know how many people you reach out to unless you track it. And if you track it, you can see what's going right and what's working. Another important fact, pop over to my Epic group, because if you reach out to like 20 people in a row and no one responds, I want to see what you're sending, because there may be something in the midst of what you're saying. And the biggest key is anytime you start to use the word I, flip it to you and people will respond. So that was a lot for today. I want to give you guys just well wishes. Please come to the group, ask lots of questions, send your friends here if you want to book tons and tons of sales calls, discovery sessions, call it as you like. It's talking with people. And what do you do after you PM? Perfect. It's called engaging. So I message back and forth with folks until I invite them to have a call. So I'll thank them for responding, and then I start engaging and asking them questions and talking with them, and then it naturally leads to getting someone on a call. So, and I can do it for you. So if you want, anybody can PM me, and I'll do some engagement with you. All right, off into your days. Go have lots of wonderful things happening in your world. Thank you for all the hearts and love. Mwah! I adore each and every one of you. Bye. Well, guess what? You guys are going to get bloopers. I can't make my thing shut off.